Campaign Phase 1 for Normandy. So, Axis and Allies D-Day is card driven. I have order cards, I have fortune cards, and I have tactics cards. Now, to make it a simpler game, I'm not using the tactics cards, but to add some campaign flair, we are going to use our fortune cards. So, I'm going to walk you through the first part of the first turn of the campaign. Card number 1, order card, is Airborne Assault. Roll 1 die for each infantry in the airborne box. A roll of 1 is a hit. And it says remove this card from deck after use. So, my airborne boxes are located here with the 101st Airborne, here with the 82nd, and here with my British Airborne. Now, if you'll notice, with my British Airborne, I have a painted figure, so that means we're going to have to resolve some tabletop combat to resolve that one. And with my 82nd Airborne, I also have a painted figure in that regiment. So, the only one that I could resolve right now would be the 101st Airborne, but wait! We have to draw fortune card number 1. Roll 1 die. Oops, let's see. I don't know if I can remove that little awful grating noise that just happened on the mic or not. Roll 1 die. So the fortune cards will always be played before the order card. I may have a little bit of flair on what happens in the game. So we're going to roll a d6. Axis and Allies D-Day is all d6 based. And on a 1, infantry and airborne boxes hit on a 2 up this phase. And on a 6, Axis chooses and removes 2 of your infantry and airborne boxes. The remaining airborne infantry cannot attack this phase. Okay, so a little bit of a gamble here. Fortune could favor the Nazis. Fortune could favor the Allies. So we will see how this goes. Now that's a 3, so that's going to be no effect whatsoever. So we'll go back to the order. It says roll 1 die for each infantry in the airborne box. A roll of 1 is a hit. Blockhouses cannot be chosen as casualties. Your blockhouses are here, these little square things that fire out to sea. Since the only box we can currently evaluate right now is this one, it's not going to be that hard, and it's not going to involve blockhouses. So, first infantry, I'm going to roll a 1. That's a 4. He misses. 4, 6. That misses. For this guy, we're going to roll again. That's a 6. So 3 misses with the 101st Airborne. Nothing removed here. As I said, we got to resolve some combat for this, and got to resolve some combat for this. I'm going to go ahead and roll for this gentleman, who's not painted, a 3. Roll for this gentleman. That's a 2. He misses as well. So we will go to the table and resolve combat for the 82nd Airborne. To figure out the last one on that. And so for the British Airborne, unpainted, he rolls a 2. The last unpainted guy, he rolls a 4, and we'll have to go to the table to resolve combat for this squad of infantry. Okay, first combat phase of the Normandy campaign. We're going to have the American Airborne trying to cross this segment of French farmland. It is being patrolled by a group of Germans that I have pre-rolled on the 5-minute Normandy forces chart. We have a leader with a pistol and 3 gentlemen with bolt-action rifles. The leader and the rifleman will stay put, guarding this destroyed farmhouse. But the 2 men on the road will patrol randomly, and the game is played using the 5-minute Normandy stealth rules. I'll get a little bit more into that when we get there. I'll be reading out of the rule book as I play along. Bear with me, it's been a little bit since I've played this rule set, but I think for this particular scenario it will be I think it'll be the best set of rules. So to determine the American force that is going to be trying to cross this table from left to right, I will take my D100 I'm going to roll it 3 times on the American forces chart for 5-minute Normandy, and that should give me a suitable force. I only have a certain number of paratrooper models, so if I roll something that I don't have, I'm going to fudge the numbers just a little bit, but I'm going to tell you when I fudge the numbers, so everything's going to be out in the open. So here's my first roll. And you can't see that, but that's going to be a 16. You go over here to my table. It's going to be 2 figures with M1 rifles, so I'm going to take this guy and this guy, and they are going to start on the table edge over here, coming down the road. The next roll is going to be a 67. So a 67 is 1 figure with a rifle and 1 figure with a trench gun. I don't have a trench gun in my Airborne, so I'm going to give 1 figure with a rifle and 1 figure with an SMG. So that will be my Thompson gunner here. And then I'm going to have a carbine gunner here. So we have 4 guys so far, and I have 1 more roll. So we are going to outnumber the Germans just a little bit. I'm going to roll probably a d20 and see just where I'm going to start the paratroopers from, as how many inches on that side of the table, just to make everything fair and square so they're not coming straight down the road right into enemy fire. It would kind of ruin our stealth rolls a little bit. So my next roll, my last roll for the American Forces table, is going to give me another 67, which is the exact same roll I did earlier. And as I said, I don't have a trench gun, so I'm going to actually re-roll that one, and that gives me a 9, which is going to be 1 figure with 1 rifle. So I don't have any heavy firepower at all in this squad. So this will be interesting. We'll see how it goes. Now I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to grab that D20, and I'll be right back. So I got the D20. Let's roll actually a D20 plus 2d6 and just see what happens. It's going to give me a 14. It's going to be 24 inches down the table. So let's see how that goes. So if I measure out 24 inches down the table, they're going to be actually starting in this field, which is going to give me a little bit more to work with. And they start 6 inches from the table edge. So this guy looks relatively commanding. These guys are going to start here, kind of an open diamond formation. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but we'll see. Open diamond formation and less than 6 inches from the enemy. No line of sight so far. Let's see how our first turn is going to go. So with the stealth, usually with 5-minute Normandy, there would be an action die rolled before each turn, which is going to determine if there's a scurry, a firefight, or a regular turn. A scurry would be everyone gets to move, and any enemy forces that can see you get to move too. A firefight is everybody gets to shoot, but nobody gets to move, and anybody you shot at or in line of sight gets to reaction fire, I believe. I could be telling you that wrong. This is just off the top of my head. And then the regular turn is like half of your forces get to move, rounding up. So, but with a stealth turn, the attackers, which are going to be my airborne forces here, they're going to decide if they want to reveal themselves or remain hidden. And I believe we're going to remain hidden because we're trying to cross this as stealthily as we can. But the defenders, they have to stay. They have certain parameters that they have to abide by. Like the 2 stationary figures can't move, but the 2 patrol units can, and they will kind of move in a dice-determined AI. And just patrol the area and see if they see anything suspicious, which we'll see pretty quickly. I think 5 paratroopers moving not so quietly through Normandy. It's going to be a little suspicious. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to move all of my force. I'm going to say that's allowed. I usually get 6 inches of movement, but then if you dash, you get an extra d6 on top of that. Obstacles are going to half your movement for that fence. These hedges are not passable, although there's a gate there. I guess this farm was bombed during Christmas time because they still have Christmas wreaths and all the fake snow around the house. So I guess this is June. It's been destroyed for about 6 months now, I guess. And we're going to say that's why there's Christmas wreaths on the fence. As I said, hedges are not passable. Low fences are. Rock walls are not. There are a couple of holes in the hedges, and I think those will be of very valuable use here in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move. Well, let me first see if there's any detection rules as far as dashing goes. It does not appear that there are. So I'm going to dash over that fence with this gentleman. So 6 inches gets me to the fence, and well, I can't quite get over that, can I? I'm gonna move my SMG directly forward. That puts me within 6 inches, but not the 4 inches, so that's helpful. And then this guy looks intimidating. We're going to move him to cover that position. Don't want to go straight through the gate. Kind of want to angle ourselves in just a little bit. So that's my combat for that. Now with the attackers, these guys stay put, and as I said, not within 4 inches, so he doesn't have a detection roll. These guys aren't within line of sight or within 6 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and roll a d6 minus 2 and a directional die for this gentleman first, and then this gentleman. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've got 6 inches directly, I'm going to call this south. It's for this gentleman. So 6 inches minus 2 is going to be 4 inches. 4 inches is going to put me right about here. Let me check line of sight. Nope, that hedge is going to block line of sight. We stacked up effectively on that. Let me roll for the next gentleman. Whoops. That's going to be a negative roll, so he is going to stay put because negative rolls are considered zeros. I had rolled a 1, minus 2 is going to give me a negative 1. Okay. Next turn is going to be these guys get to move 3 of the airborne forces. We're going to move 6 inches this way, 6 inches this way. 3 inches is going to get me across the fence, plus 3 inches. And because I changed direction, I can't dash. So I move that guy. 3 inches is going to get me over. 3 inches is going to get me here. So it looks like that rock wall doesn't actually block line of sight. If I can see the head of a figure over it, we're we're going to say that figure is now within line of sight of this guy here. And so now for the defenders, is he within 6 inches? He is not, so he's not automatically detected. Let's see. Detection roll, and as always in the actual game of 5-Minute Normandy, it's going to be made with a D6. 1s mean something, 6s mean something, the 2, 3, the 5 does not mean anything. So we're going to roll our D6, our detection roll. He's not detected. So that's good. Nobody else has anything to detect, but we do have our 2 patrol units, starting with this gentleman. He's going to move this direction 1 inch, because it's a 3 minus 2 inches. So I'm going to move him 1 inch this way. We'll check line of sight one more time. He's still good. That hex is still blocking. I'll go ahead and roll my D6 plus a directional die for the patrol unit. And he got that direction 5 inches. Minus 2 is going to give me 3 inches. He's going to move that direction. That is it for the defender's turn. Next, for the attacker's turn, he's going to move up on the gate, but not to the gate, but that is going to get me within 4 inches of him, which I believe is going to be an automatic detection. If I am, let's see, within 4 inches but not in sight, subject to a detection roll. Now, does that roll happen on the defender's turn or the attacker's turn? Let's see. Oh, let's just go ahead and roll that detection roll now, just to see if everything breaks loose. That's going to be a D6. That is a 6. Okay. So he has been discovered. The alarm is raised, and the attacking forces are entirely discovered. So no more stealth rules. Now, on a 6, it seems, let's see. When the alarm is raised, every defending figure may take a 3-inch move and may fire using only shock dice at any visible target. Okay, so everybody gets to move 3 inches. So he's going to move 3 inches because he heard something around this hedge. He can see him. He's now within line of sight. He gets to fire only using shock dice. Now let me go to my weapons chart. Bolt action rifle gets 1 kill die and 1 shock die. So kill die would be red die, black die would be a shock die. I only get to fire using shock dice because of this particular incident. That is going to be a 4. Nothing's going to happen on a 4. This man is armed with only a pistol. He gets to move 3 inches as well. He's going to run this direction. That does not put him within line of sight. He is going to run 3 inches this way. Let me check line of sight. He technically has line of sight, but he would be firing through a comrade. I'm not going to allow that. And he is going to run 3 inches this way as well. No line of sight. Okay. So that is it with the stealth. Now we're going to go to our normal combat turns with 5-Minute Normandy. So first thing I'm going to do for the attackers, the Americans over here, I'm going to roll my action dice. So my action roll is going to be a D6 like everything else in 5-Minute Normandy. 1 is going to be a scurry, a 6 is going to be a firefight. Otherwise, it's going to be a normal turn. So I rolled a 1, which is a scurry. Force sees an opportunity to relocate and redeploy, and suddenly everyone is scurrying towards new positions. Each of your figures may be moved up to a full move in any direction, though they may not enter hand-to-hand combat. Okay. Figures currently in hand-to-hand combat, although that doesn't apply to me, may move away, but prisoners and figures unable to move, down, ducking back, etc. must remain in place. Scurrying figures are not subject to any snap fire or guard fire. That's good to know. After the player finishes all the moves they want to take, the opposing player may scurry with any figures that had line of sight to a moving figure this turn at any point of their movement. Once all moves are completed, turn ends. Good to know. I'm going to move 6 inches with this gentleman, which is going to give this guy the chance to move here in a bit. And then 6 inches with this man, 3 inches towards the fence and 3 inches over. I'm going to rush 6 inches back this direction and post up with the SMG. And I'm going to go 6 inches this way with my guy with the rifle. Let's see. This guy would have line of sight, and this guy would have line of sight. So I get to move 3 inches over and 3 inches forward with my rifleman. And I get to move 3 inches towards the fence and over the fence. Actually, that's a gate. So he got a full 6 inches. Sorry. Which is going to put him rushing the guy with an SMG, which is probably not a good sign for him, but he doesn't know what just happened. We shall see. Okay, German turn. I'm going to roll a d6, just the same as I did for the Americans. There's a 3, so I get to move half of my forces. Let's see, I believe I get to move and then shoot. Okay, I get to shoot and move basically whenever. So he scurried around, realizes there's 2 of them. He's going to fire his rifle 1 time, which is going to give me 1 kill die and 1 shock die, with a 6 on the kill die. That's not looking good. Let's go see what that does. Out of action. Okay, so he is down and out. Need to remember that. Okay. And I got nothing on the shock die, but he is going to flip out because he just saw 3 Americans and he didn't realize there was any Americans at all in Normandy, because this is about 3 o'clock in the morning on June the 6th. So he's rushing back. I want to move him this direction because they've heard a lot of scurrying. He's going to try to hurry down that alleyway if he can. And then he is going to try to cut him off at the pass this direction. Let's see if he has line of sight. He does have line of sight to 1 paratrooper. Let me see what cover does. Just make sure I get everything right. Actually, he's not touching an obstacle, so he can't shoot. Can't shoot over that obstacle, so that makes sense. So figures that did not fire their weapon in the last turn, whenever they're activated or not, are assumed to be guarding and generally on the lookout. If an enemy figure that has begun its movement out of sight enters their line of sight, they may perform guard fire at the earliest point possible. Okay. Only shock die for guard fire. But we said he's not in contact with that, so he doesn't have guard fire. He ran around the corner, he began the turn in sight, so he doesn't have guard fire. Okay. Good to know. That is a good way to roll it. I believe that is the end of the German turn, and to the American turn we shall roll an action die. That's going to give me a 4, which is a regular turn. First thing he's going to do is he's going to fire at this guy here. I don't know if you can see him on camera, but there's a German hiding in that corner. And the semi-automatic rifle, which the M1 is, still going to give me 1 kill and 1 shock die for that. Marching fire, which is shooting in the middle of your move, is 1 shock die, and guard fire is 2 shock die on it. Good to know. Oh, I rolled a kill die of 6 and a shock die of 6. And this guy is dead. So after killing that German, he's going to move 3 inches back, pop over this fence. There's nothing he can do for his wounded comrade. So goes it. So that's 1 figure. I get to move half of my force, and I only have 4 guys. I only get to move 2. I want to move 6 inches here to this low wall and to shoot him. I don't know why I'm measuring distance. Rifles in this game are line of sight weapons. If you can see it, you can hit it. So semi-automatic rifle with the M1 carbine, it's going to be 1 shock die, which is the black die, 1 kill die, which is the red die, and I got nothing. So he popped up into line of sight, which means he can probably guard fire, which is going to be 1 shock die, 1 black die, that's a 5. That doesn't do anything. Whoops. And then I'm going to run this guy up as well. And he's going to take a shot. That is a 6 on the kill die. And he is down. This is a very bloody game so far. And then the Germans get to the end of their turn. So action die. 4, regular turn. I have 2 German figures. That means I get to move 1 of them. He just saw his buddy get it. So he's going to run up there through the gate and see what's going on. Oh no, there's Americans over there. I'm going to shoot. So 1 kill die, 1 shock die. 6 on the shock die, a 6 on the kill die. Which I wouldn't believe this if I wasn't seeing it. Mohawk guy is down and out. I haven't explained this yet. Kill die is always resolved before the shock die is. A 1 on the kill die is a wound, 6 is out of action. A 6 on the shock die is a bail, and a 1 is a flinch. And I go into that if that happens later. So with cross, all I have to do is get 2 figures off that table edge, and then everybody can exit any table edge they want to. So looks like that's going to happen pretty effectively here. With my American turn, it's going to have, let's go D6. That's a 3, normal turn. Move half my forces, round it up. I've got 3, so that's going to be 2 feet. Three inches to cross, 3 inches down the road, 3 inches to cross, 3 inches down the road. German turn, I have 2 figures for the Germans. Roll 4, regular turn. He can see that officer there. He's going to roll D6s. He's got a 6 on the kill die. He's down and out too. This has been a very bloody little firefight. Although I may have gotten the cover rules wrong, I think I should be deducting kill die down to shock die. But we'll evaluate that before next game. I don't want to change the rules in the middle of my game. So American turn. Roll my action die. And that is a 6, which is going to be a firefight. Nobody's in line of sight. We don't get to move. Okay. 6 die for the Germans. Nobody's in line of sight, so they don't get to shoot either. So action die for the Americans. 1 is going to be a scurry. I get to move my full move. And these guys are going to dash 6 inches for this gentleman. He's moving in a straight line, so he gets to dash. I'll roll that d6 here. Whoops. Drop that one, I'll roll this one instead. That's 4 inches of extra movement for him on a dash. And he is at the table edge and out free. The other gentleman is going to dash. It's going to be a d6 plus 6. So let's go here. He rolled a 6. d6 plus 6 is going to get him off the table edge. 2 Americans left the board in the correct location. And that is going to give us a +1 on the die roll on the campaign map. Overall, nice little scenario. I think there's plenty of cover. If I had evaluated cover right, as I said, I need to review the rules and see, make sure I'm doing that right. So I like it. For stealth rules, 5-Minute Normandy has a great system. The D6 based system takes a little bit of getting used to when you're used to rolling high or rolling low, and all you're looking for is 1s and 6s. Yeah, let me know what you think. Too much terrain, too little terrain. I guess I'm supposed to ask people for likes, comments, subscribes, all the things. If you want to, do it. If you don't want to, not going to hurt my feelings. So probably going to return to the campaign map right now.